Hello and welcome to The Precap, a daily show podcast where we sit with this week's host to recap some of the latest news and also to preview what's coming up next. I'm Joe Opio, a writer at the show, and today I'm joined by this week's host, the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Johnson.
How's it going, man?
No, it's going great.
Yeah,
it's going great. I'm
you
just,
good?
it's my first time doing this, so
Yeah.
I'm great to have you as my first guest. And
Yeah.
last time I checked, actually, you were sitting down for an interview. The last time I saw you on a podcast, you were sitting down for an interview with Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
And now, a week or so later, you're sitting down with me. So I don't know how to process this. Is this like another milestone in your career, or is it the most dramatic downfall in showbiz history?
I think to be able to have a conversation with top Ugandan comedian Joe Opio
Yes, okay.
is absolutely incredible because I never get to see you. So this is special. Yeah.
You're always on the road. I used to see a lot more when you used to be in the writer's wing.
Yeah.
And then once you took off, you went like, I'm cutting. I made it out of the ghetto. I'm never coming back. So we never see you back there. You come every once in a while. But no, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, on this podcast. And we have a lot to cover.
Okay.
And as I was telling the team, who better
Oh,
than
thanks.
the man who helps America make sense
Oh, thank
of
you.
news every week. We have a lot to go through, and I think we should start actually with the biggest news, the biggest event
Yeah.
of the weekend that everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks leveling their playoff series against Atlanta
Which is wild. No one saw it coming.
with a game, yes.
Yeah.
On the road, the winner on the road. But seriously, no, let's talk about the White House Correspondents Dinner. We knew we'd talk about it, but we didn't know that it would be such a huge talking point. And that's precisely because of what happened.
Yeah.
What's your take on what happened?
It is wild to me that so much of the country falls into two camps. One, they either don't care or they think it was fake. I'm not seeing people expressing a lot of concern or stressed about something like this happening again. You know, every president has had their threats and everything, but this one in particular, I think that it came apart because it just felt so goofy in how it was presented to the public. So, for instance, everyone there, right, has a phone.
Yes.
And so because everyone there has a phone, we're all getting their POV of what's happening.
Yes.
And so not every person there, but everyone with a phone, I don't know who shot footage on their phone and then didn't put it out. And so we're seeing lots of stuff that has nothing to do with the shooting. And if you're being honest about any incident like this, there's the whole world going on while it's happening anyway, right?
Yes.
But because we are seeing it in social and we're seeing it on the news and we're getting different versions from different people who saw very specific things or had a certain proximity to the shooter, we're also getting people who are like, y'all, they're stealing Prosecco.
Oh, yes, the journalists, yes.
So now it's like, oh, okay. Are they worried?
Yes.
Whereas when you watch like a documentary about a shooting that took place in the 70s and they actually sit everyone down and you hear from 8 or 9 people how traumatic the whole thing was and what was going through their head and stuff like that, this thing feels like one thing to you, which is a shooting that was terrifying, right? But because we're in this modern era where anybody can just post and upload and share what is somewhat confidential to completely commonplace, it puts people in a place where they see the whole idea of what's happening. They see every angle,
yes.
And by seeing every angle, it shows you that no one thing is presented just one way for everybody.
Okay, so there's no
sense.
official account. There's not like
there's
official
not like
account.
Yes, and which also feels crazy because the news was there.
Yes.
These people are the news. And so it happened where the news is. And so then they were like almost talking satellite to their news station as the news. And then stuff would still happen where they were like, well, I actually didn't see any of that.
But then the question, to go back to the point you made about the two camps, and I'm going to make it a two-parter because first of all, this has happened way too many times. Someone feels.
Yeah.
Someone even went like, "Oh, a new assassination attempt has dropped," like it was an album.
Yeah.
Because in the past, you go like, "Oh, there was an assassination attempt, or there was an assassination," but it was like once every blue moon, so it was like quite the event. This Trump has so far gone through 3, and which I find ironic because Trump ran promising to make America safe again. He proudly brags about making DC safe, and it feels like there have been more crimes committed against him than any other president. But okay, that's one part. The other part is Trump is also he has been very big at sowing distrust in the media, in the civic institutions. So do you think that somehow has inspired, the conspiracies and the fact that, because he's a conspiracy theorist, and so he has like bred that kind of...
Once you see it in everything, it is hard to turn it off. And so I think that you have to be very careful with manipulating people's emotions or their beliefs around something, because they will not turn that thing off once it looks like
just because it's affecting you.
Yes,
because Trump is very good at breeding distrust when it comes to other people.
Yes,
Obama wasn't American, or Biden wasn't real president,
or when it affects him, like he kept saying he didn't lose the election, and so now there's, even if you want to take this guy's word for everything, he's not even really giving you enough details on things.
Yes,
and then you see the footage, and it's like, even the footage of the guy running is very bad footage. It's the type of footage that is in a TV show about a shooting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where they're like, we can't make out the shooter's face because, this camera is like the second camera ever made.
Did the fact that the event still went ahead also not help matters? Because I'm thinking, if I'm with, God forbid, but if I'm the shooter and the event still goes on, that can't do wonders for my ego.
Yeah, no, that would definitely make you wonder if you accomplished anything. I don't know why they still had the dinner. I think that, to me, you cancel. I don't know where they were in the dinner. It seems like some of them had eaten, and I think that you just call it. There was a shooting. It would be understandable if you, like, the only people that will be disappointed that you called off the White House Correspondents Dinner after a shooting are the 12 people that watch it on C-SPAN.
Oh, yeah, who wanted to watch the whole event.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a world where people look at them canceling after a shooting and go, I can't believe they did that.
What a bummer. I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
I was intrigued when you said we watched footage, or we kept watching like all these other like POVs, and part of that is we watched the live evacuations, and some of them were very goofy.
Yeah,
like you had RFK Jr., you had the vice president getting evacuated before, or getting taken out of the room before the president. You had RFK Jr. going and somehow leaving his wife behind.
Yeah,
you had there's been lots of conversation around, or at least online, about how the officials or the members of the Trump cabinet reacted during the moment, either by abandoning their wives or by protecting their wives. And what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to it's gonna be hard to not look like you showed your true colors in a crisis. You were in a crisis and you didn't know you would make it out on the other end. And so anything you did is what I imagine you would do again. Yes. And so it does make it it does make it worse when someone has a reaction that's not exactly moral
or noble.
Yes, because here's the thing. I don't know. I'm not acting like I know what I would do in their situation, or that I'm just like so noble to the core that I would do exactly the right thing in that moment. Like if you're scared and you run, you're scared and you're running. You're running because you're scared.
Yes.
You may think about the fact that you have a kid 12 seconds after you get out of the building.
Yes.
And you see that all like that's also the thing you see in the movie sometimes where people make it all the way out of the building and then they go, my baby. And then they need Spider-Man to go get the baby.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel like in a moment like that, you're panicked. And so if someone comes and grabs you, if someone's going to take you to safety, maybe you don't ask too many questions right away.
I'm going to ask this, and I'm not an expert on gender dynamics.
Uh-huh.
If you're a married man
Yes.
in an active shooter situation
Mm-hmm.
and you leave your wife behind, wouldn't it be more merciful for you to not make it out of that situation than to deal with the aftermath of your wife asking why you left her behind?
I think if you leave your wife behind, you should plan to be an unmarried man. I don't know a world where she's like, oh, stuff happens. Like, I think that if you are in an active shooting and you leave your wife will then be like, so you would leave me.
I feel like something that no partner would ever let go. Like, you're going to be fighting 12 years later.
Easily.
And she'll go like, you left me. Like,
yes. Well, also, you got to remember that couples now, every couple goes through scenarios. What would you do if this thing happened?
Yes.
And now you've shown them what you would do in the worst possible situation. So now they don't even need to ask anymore. Sometimes you get those questions. Would you still love me if I was a frog?
Yes.
It's like, we don't even have to play hypothetical. I know I would leave you.
Would you choose me or the kids? Would you choose me or your mom?
Yeah. And
RFK Jr. was like, no, I would choose me.
I would
period.
Choose myself.
It was interesting. And Stephen Miller, some people are saying he protected his wife. Some people are saying he used his pregnant wife
as a shield.
Because in one of the pictures, he's leading her out, but she's in front of him.
You ever see that optical illusion with the duck and the rabbit? And it just depends on how you look at the picture, if you see a duck or a rabbit. I think that's this situation. Because I guess if the attack is from the left, he's shielding his wife. If the attack is from anywhere else, he's hiding behind his wife. So it's a hard one to know exactly what to say. I'll say this, as someone who's not a fan of Stephen Miller at all, I tend to believe that the way he is shielding her is a little bit shielding for him.
But at least he would say, even if his wife went like, oh, why are you using me as a human shield?
Mm-hmm.
He would say, at least I didn't leave you behind.
I didn't leave you behind.
I didn't abandon you like RFK did abandon.
Because I'll tell you what, the thing about a human shield is that you can only hold it in one direction.
Yes.
So technically you're shielding whoever you human shield as well, if you're talking about the different direction.
Yes, I agree with you. Kash Patel also drawing lots of attention for his reactions.
I've never seen somebody still have a job like Kash Patel. Like, in my mind, there's like 9 times where I would have been fired. If I like when I think about the people who I know who have been fired in my life and what they got fired for, and he's out here doing, like, he's reported to be doing some of the most fireable things you could possibly do. They literally had to go get him. Like, he was barricaded. And
he looked, when I looked at the video footage, when the shooting was, he looked like how I would look.
Yes.
He looked like, I can't believe this is happening now.
No, he makes me feel like I could be FBI director
Yes,
too.
that's exactly, yes. He makes you feel like anyone can do the job. And then later when it came out that his girlfriend was actually hiding in a room and she had another guy holding her hand, that doesn't help your reputation as the top law enforcement guy in the country.
It's also... you saw the thing of him outside after,
on phone,
and he's on the phone. You know that person that doesn't know what to do at a scene, and so they call 911 even though the police are already there, and they're like, they'll literally call 911 and be like, "Hey, we have an emergency." It's like, well, I hear sirens in the back. It's like, yeah, but if y'all could send some extra people, I'm just trying to do something. I'm just trying to be helpful.
I think you're being a little bit more. For me, he looked like a guy trying to call a guy inside the club when he's stuck outside. I'm a guy inside. If I call him now, he'll come and get me past the velvet rope. That's what it looked like. This was the first White House Correspondents Dinner that didn't have a comedian.
Maybe that's it.
Thank God for small masses, Because I feel like you could have been hosting. You could have been one of the names hosting. Because it's always hosted like almost by by the hottest comedian at the moment, and it has been hosted by lots of comedians from The Daily Show.
Yeah.
This was the first one. They had a mentalist instead of a comedian.
Yeah. And
maybe it just goes to show.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe comedians are good luck charms.
Interesting.
You can make the point like, hey, every time we have a comedian, this doesn't happen, does it?
Okay, so White House Correspondents Dinner, that was hard to process, but more big news from the weekend, and I think this a little bit maybe lighter, a little bit better news, a little bit brighter.
Okay.
Depending on where you stand. The Michael Jackson biopic coming out.
Yeah.
Trashed by the critics, but the audience obviously loved it. And it traced to 217 million odd at the box office. Did you expect it to be a hit like that, or did you have some reservations because of who Michael Jackson has become, of how his reputation has suffered a bit?
No, I figured it would make money. I figured it would actually be huge. You saw the people dressing up, and you saw the people dancing at the end of the movie together and everything, having like a Michael off and everything. And yeah, I expected it to do pretty well. I was a little surprised when the critics trashed it so hard, but I also think that sometimes with critique, you just have to remember that the people watching and the critics don't care about the same things. There's a lot of critics out there who are going to be very technical, especially in a movie about a person's life. They're going to be very technical about what the movie got right or wrong, or they're going to...
What is left out.
Yes, what was left out, who was sanitized, who was made to look like the villain and everything. And I think that audiences, by and large, when they go to see a movie, they just want to be entertained. And unless it's a documentary where they are looking for information, I don't know how much the general audience is going to be thinking about the representation of this auxiliary character or something. So
when you think about, sorry to interrupt, when you think about the trend in recent movies, Michael being the latest, but also movies like Super Mario Galaxy World, movies like Minecraft, which were trashed by the critics but loved by the audiences.
Yeah.
Do you feel like critics are losing? Have they ever had the influence anyway? Are they losing their...
I mean, I think they had influence when it was in print, when critiques and things like that were in print, and people had less of a social media outlet to get feedback on how the movie was from their friends and everything.
Okay. Yes.
I think that's when critics had the most sway. I think critics also can do themselves a disservice by not accepting that they are critiquing from a place of knowing about film, and the audience is looking for the escapism that film brings, or just the fun and entertainment that a film is going to serve you with. And so I think that a critic could be right. That's my thing. Is sometimes a critic is right, and I'm still like, oh yeah, but it's fun. Or you can brush some things off when a movie gets a very bad rating. I'm trying to think of another movie that got a really bad rating, and I thought to myself, I enjoyed it.
There are movies I don't think got the best ratings from the critics, but it still raised to $1 billion. There's so many movies recently that haven't gotten the best treatment from the critics, but maybe, as you're saying, the critics are going for the technical excellence of the movie.
Yeah.
While same thing with the Oscars. Sometimes the movies that win the Oscars were not exactly crowd pleasers, and I think Chris Rock did a good bit about that with White Chicks, where he went into the streets, and White Chicks, everyone loved White Chicks, while the critics trashed it. But clearly sometimes I think there's that discrepancy between what the critics are looking for in a movie and what the audiences are looking for. MJ was a huge figure globally. It didn't matter whether you were in Africa, it didn't matter whether it was pre-social media. Everyone seemed to at least know about him. And do you think that's part of the reason this movie is going to have legs? Is it going to have legs anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I think, isn't it just a part one as well?
Yes. No, but I mean, normally weekend opening gross can sometimes,
I think this is the perfect time to release. If you're worried about Michael's legacy overshadowing the movie or people being iffy about going, I think the U.S. being in the middle of a war that we don't understand and people actually being apathetic about like a shooting at a White House Correspondents Dinner, I think that this is the time where if you were going to release a Michael movie, it's now. I was talking to Devin about this and I was like, do you think that if they had come out with the movie like a year earlier, it would be doing this well? And I feel like we were in somewhat agreement that like maybe a year and change ago, if you had come out with the Michael movie, people would be like, he's got such a controversial past, or I don't know if I can go see a movie that celebrates a person, whatever. And I think that now we've actually been beaten down to the point where if somebody just plays something that we can dance to, people will flock to the theater. I do feel like that's what's happening.
Also, you think a year has made a change in the national mood in America?
100%. I think that if you were to put the movie out even a few years ago, it wouldn't do as well. I think that now people are just looking for something to feel...
Because real life is so grim.
Yes. I think people are just looking for something to feel a part of in a way when you go somewhere and people are excited enough to dress up and people are dancing together and everything. It's not a holiday. It's just like people, even now, there are people who are like, I'm going to go to this theater on this weekend because I know other people are going to go and it's going to be like an experience and people are trying to experience it together.
That's a very interesting observation because I read and I saw clips from like theaters during like Minecraft the movie, even when you move in movies like Sonic or movies that are based on like really iconic characters, and people go there for that. People go there to almost like have an interactive experience with the screen.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to that, what you're saying about people wanting to be part of a larger moment. But the insurance scam.
Yeah.
In case you don't know, this this is an insurance scam that was happening in California, where people dressed up as bears, 3 people could have been charged, dressed up as bears, went and trashed these luxury cars, and then filed insurance claims, trying to claim that it was a bear that actually trashed the cars and so that they could get a payout.
Yeah. I remember when this happened, and this is a testament to how slow the American justice system works. Because this is like... when they were actually doing it and got caught and got arrested, I think was 2 years ago. Okay. And that, for something that we saw you do on video, 2 years is a long time to wait to tell you we saw you do it on video. Like, I don't know how court systems work in other countries, but I imagine like,
if the evidence is there.
If I'm in Uganda and I did something and it's on camera and you see that it's me, and maybe I'm even holding a sign that says my name, right? In my mind, I could be wrong. I don't know the system. But I imagine in Uganda, if there's that much evidence against you and they file charges and you've been arrested, that it doesn't take 2 years to be like, oh, yeah, that was you.
I feel Americans have a phrase for that. It's supposed to be called an open and shut case.
Yes.
But it took 2 years. I thought the first time I read about this, and I wasn't as well versed with it as you are clearly, I thought this is the whitest crime I've ever seen.
Look, the insurance side of it, dressing up as a bear, the insurance side of it, and the fact that like it's mildly plausible does feel, it
feels as white as can be.
A little bit, because if I'm being honest with you, I'm like, I just don't know anybody. I've never met anyone in my life just personally that was like, hey, so I got a plan. All right. I'm going to dress up as a bear.
And we're going to scam.
You go ahead, leave the car unlocked. Let me do my thing. We're going to take home at least 6 figures. Like, to me, that is a scam. Yes, it's a scam that is done by people who truly understand insurance. I'm sure that even when they got in the car as a bear, they made sure to tear up the right amount of stuff to both be believable and be like, insurance is going to cover this, it's going to cover this. I'm going to leave the steering wheel alone. Insurance is going to cover this,
I love one detail in the story where they say the wildlife expert took one look at the video and went like, "That's clearly a man in a bear."
Yeah.
And you've had the famous, the famous online question that they ask women: would you trust?
Oh, in the woods, a man or a bear?
A man or a bear. See,
Yeah.
it turns out you can't trust a man because he could actually be dressed. Or you can't trust the bear because most women choose the bear.
Yeah, a
But
lot
now
of women
it
choose the
seems,
bear.
it seems you can't trust the bear because
The bear
it
might
could
be
be
a
a man
man, yeah.
dressed as a bear.
Yeah. Which is honestly even scarier than a man, because a man dressed as a bear, we're talking about somebody who's into some different stuff.
Well, that has been a review of what happened, at least over the weekend. But lots coming up as well. There's always news happening in the Trump world. There's always news happening in the world. And I think the most interesting is the royal family from Britain is visiting the US. Excited or not about that visit?
I don't really care. I don't care about them coming. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what the thing is with them. I just am not. I don't even know why people care when they go anywhere.
I feel like part of it is like, no, we already have the British royal family here.
Yeah, it's like we
Meghan
got
Markle
Meghan and Harry. This thing now feels like
An older, much less sexier version of them.
Like, I understand there's a ceremony involved and that there's like a decorum to it and everything. And I guess as people who have watched the country devolve into like AI slop and even like journalistic slop and everything, I think that some ceremony probably seems nice right about now. But I don't know. King Charles and Camilla just don't. I don't think about them at all. I don't think about them the way that I thought. When the Queen was alive, I thought about the Queen when she would visit, or just the Queen would just do stuff. Like whenever she was driving, I thought that was wild. She drove up until the end, and you'd see her driving the vehicle herself because she liked to drive.
I think the problem with Charles is I think he waited a bit too long, or the Queen lived a bit too long, because it feels like he was waiting, and then when he ascended to the throne, people no longer cared, and also didn't help that when he ascended to the throne, his brother got involved in what he got involved in with Epstein, and that somehow took the shine off. Yeah. But also, like, I think you expect royalty to have a certain look. At least we've been taught when they go like, oh, Prince Charles was a prince for so long, but then he didn't have what we are taught by Hollywood, by pop culture. We didn't think that's what a prince looks like.
Yeah, and he feels like what's the best way to put this? It feels like we don't know him enough to like care about him being king.
Well, you're not excited about the visit. I'm sure Trump is, because Trump loves the pomp. Trump loves the glamour.
Yeah.
Trump loves the glitz. And there's going to be lots of, pomp and glitzy ceremonies happening when he's... Actually, some people would even argue, and I was talking to the team before we came in here, they would argue that Trump would love to be what Prince Charles is, or whatever King Charles is. He would love to be... Because when you look at it, and many people are saying, oh, right now the UK and the US are not like the best of friends because of what's happening in Iran, and the UK doesn't seem to be as on board. But I feel like Trump has a problem with the prime minister. He doesn't have a problem with the royal family, because he doesn't see the royal family as policy leaders in the UK. I think he sees them more as, you'd say, mascots. And I feel like that's what Trump would love to be. And the reason Trump keeps stressing Americans is because you guys have actually burdened him with policy. He just wants to be like a mascot for the US. Yeah. Where you come out, you've seen mascots for sports teams. Yeah. Doesn't matter if their team sucks. They're always going like, our team is winning. Mascots are pretty popular with everyone. And when you make Trump do policy, now he's unpopular, now he's not polling well. And I feel like for him, the ultimate dream is to be like, for the Trump family to be like the royal family of the US.
Yes. I mean, being a figurehead is the original reality TV. Like when you think about a figurehead of a nation that doesn't have much political power and is just there to reassure the people or something, that to me is like reality TV, because you actually do keep up with that person and you wonder what they're doing, and you keep track of where they're visiting and everything. And I'm sure, like to your point, yes, Trump would love that, to not have to govern and just be able to campaign, because he kind of did that first term. Like he kind of would just do this victory lap after winning the first time, and you were like, I don't know why you're in Arizona kind of campaigning, you just won. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like he'll have a great time, and yeah,
he's going to play dress up. Well, he's not having a great time when it comes to Iran, and I think
no, that's
he just
bad.
keeps. We were talking about this, how he just keeps extending the ceasefire. We don't know what's happening. He just keeps extending out. Apparently, the blockade has gone global.
Mm-hmm.
He has called back. You're talking about how sometimes he seems to stumble into, when it comes to like the negotiations with Iran, he just went like, no need to travel to Islamabad. Maybe you should just give me a call. And you seem to think it's not as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. I honestly think that there are some things, especially when you're in peace talks, that should just be handled over the phone. FaceTime maybe, Zoom. But this thing of like, we're both going to fly to the other country.
To a neutral country.
A neutral country. Flying takes time. If I'm fighting a war, I want to know as soon as the war is over. And I don't need you to fly to the place to eat the tea cookies and have the conversation. It's like, no, if you can figure this out in a couple hours on the phone, better you figure it out on the phone than like being set in a schedule for a week and a half from now.
I also feel like the worst thing you want to do after a flight all the way across to Islamabad, to Pakistan, is get down to... You're cranky probably. When you get off a flight, you're jet lagged, you're cranky.
You're not feeling well.
Yes.
You're not your best self.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. That feels like a Snickers commercial right there, of just like, you're not you when you're hungry.
Okay, so then what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you have an idea how this is going to shape up?
With U.S. and Iran?
Yeah, no. It feels like negotiations are on. Now they are off. Witkoff is going and Jared Kushner, now they're not going. J.D. Vance is headed. Now he's not. The ceasefire is on. Now it's been extended indefinitely. Do you have any... Because Trump seems to be playing it by the ear, which probably is something you shouldn't do when so many things are depending on the ceasefire. But do you have an idea of, is this war anywhere near the end, or are we...
No, I couldn't even begin to guess, because I feel like we are watching in real time someone who is very consequential not have a plan. And so whenever I try not to make guesses off people who don't have a plan. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody ran in and didn't have a plan, I would be like,
he doesn't know what he's going to do next.
Yes. Because he doesn't know what he's going to do next, I don't know what he's going to do next.
So the strait remains closed for, you think, the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think this is me doing exactly what I said I wouldn't do, but this is my guess, right? My guess is that the strait stays closed until we finally have like projections that everyday people can understand about how bad the strait being closed is. Because right now, we're still working off of reserves, and people still don't have to fully familiarize themselves with the consequences of the strait being closed. And I think that there are people who want to believe the president's messaging that are still able to, because nothing has like affected them just yet. If they haven't tried to fly, or if they don't buy things in mass, they might have noticed prices go up a little bit. But like, it's really if you're buying plane tickets, and if you are in any way working with like fertilizer, there's so many things that are about to skyrocket, right? But if you don't really engage with any of that stuff, if you go to the grocery store and get your groceries, you go to work and you go home, and maybe you go to a movie once in a while, I think that right now you've only experienced a slight spike in groceries, and you've been told, oh, okay, well, it's going to take some short-term pain for some long-term changes, and it won't be until someone can come to you with a very understandable graph. We're talking like 3 words on the graph. And it just says like the length of time the strait is closed means the prices will go up, means you'll be able to afford like fewer and fewer things.
Yes.
And then I think that off of that backlash, because Trump cares about the market and he cares about
polling, he cares about, yes.
I think then he would come up with a solution that he could try to sell as a win, but would actually be a deep, horrific concession to Iran. And I say horrific concession because I think that when you are desperate, especially as a leader, you'll do anything to get out of that position. And so him doing anything to get out of that position probably means giving them something that they never would have got, 4 years ago.
Yes.
And so I just look at it as he's already tried to sell off things as wins that were actually him ceding ground. So I just imagine that's going to happen again.
Interesting prediction for someone who said they wouldn't predict what someone without a plan.
Well, I just don't know if I'll be right.
That was way more in-depth than I expected.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'll be right. So it doesn't matter how well you put it or how many words you say. If you're wrong, you might as well have just been wrong.
Well, only time will tell. And now we get to the part which we call the Daily Show and Tell. Any topic, anything you've read, anything you've watched, anything you've argued about, anything you've seen online that you feel you should share with our viewers.
There is a documentary series on Netflix about these Mormons and their cult leader who took the place of the previous cult leader. And it just blows my mind how few cult leaders are good looking. Like, these people get a lot of people to follow them and do stuff that they don't want to do. And then you see them and you're like, for this guy?
Oh, so you think looks should at least be a factor?
You would think it'd be a bigger factor. I'm saying based off of human nature, you would think it'd be a bigger factor. I'm not saying it should be. I'm not in support of any cult leaders. I'm just saying
saying you're more surprised by how average looking. Yes.
Not even average. Below average half the time. Half the time it's somebody that looks like you would not want to sit next to them on a bus.
How many of these things have you watched for you to come to this conclusion?
Dude, I've watched a ton. I've watched so many that I can't even remember the names of some of the cults. Like, I remember I watched one on Heaven's Gate. I've watched some on NXIVM. I watched
one of NXIVM. Yes.
Yeah. I've watched.
I agree with you. Yes, he wasn't Brad Pitt.
That was a weird one for me because I was like, he just looked like he retired early. Like, he was gray in places that didn't seem to match symmetrically, which, look, if you can gray well as a man, it's pretty it's a pretty good life.
If you can gray like George Clooney.
Yeah, if you can gray like George Clooney, the world will reward you for being good looking. And this dude grayed in a way where because I think he liked to play basketball with his cult. It was like a big thing that they play basketball. And he looked like somebody who would hurt himself if he played basketball. And so I've watched a ton of these cult things. And
I love how you watch them and you're like, no, I wouldn't follow that one. No, I wouldn't follow that one.
No man.
Chance I would want to sit near that one on the subway.
Some of them, the first like year-ish, of in any of these documentaries, the first year of the cult is actually pretty dope. You just hanging out with your friends and eating snacks and stuff. And then something turns. And I think that when people like that, in that they're trying to be this messianic figure, yes, and they are trying to exploit people and get the most that they can out of them, trying to extract everything financially and like on a level spiritually from them. They'll work them physically and everything. And then you just look at the guy and you look at him after everything is settled, like when he's been arrested and stuff like that. But you also look at him when he was doing it. And I'm like, it's not like he had a fall from being hot.
Yes.
He was never a good-looking person. And yeah. I mean, not to be vapid, but it does kind of blow my mind that you would have an ugly cult leader.
I love that your message is, if you're going to at least join a cult, be as shallow as a guy on Tinder.
Yes, because
swipe right only on 9s or above, so that when anything falls apart, people go like, "Oh, at least we see what he saw. We see what they saw in him."
Yes, when they make this documentary, because you know what? Actually, this is a good example, right? They will make a documentary. Sometimes the cult leader is a woman, and whenever the cult leader is a woman, I think it's just the social pressures.
Yes,
this is a better looking person. This cult leader is like a good-looking woman. And so then you see that even cults adhere to these like patriarchal standards around who you listen to, who you follow. It's always like the same type of woman that you could imagine being like a venture capitalist at a startup or something like that, like someone who is not just well spoken and convincing, but someone who's good looking.
Or
whereas
maybe,
the men are
or
slobs.
maybe it speaks to the fact that women have to do a lot more to get what an average dude will get just by being an average dude.
Yeah. Look, I'm not for this inequality in the cult leadership. You know, yeah, we gotta start opening our minds up.
I wasn't watching cult documentaries. I was doing something way more benign. I was following what's happening in the soccer world, and the thing I want to talk about, or the thing that has been trending in my world, is the fact that someone did propose to Trump, and Trump actually was all for it, that Italy should replace Iran at the World Cup, which for me was, and their reasoning was, and this is someone, of course, that Trump knows from, he's the guy who actually introduced Melania to Trump. And so they have the Epstein link going for them. But he did propose that Italy should replace Iran because right now Iran is fighting with the US one, but also because Italy has won 4 World Cups. They were not able to make it to this World Cup. But he was like, oh, they have won 4 World Cups, so maybe we should just replace Iran. And for me, it sounded like the most American thing in the world because they were going like, oh, you know, the same way you do it with college, where you go like, oh, this kid didn't really get the grades to join this Ivy League school. But hey, their grandpa and their dad contributed to the school. Maybe they have, I don't know, a library named after them. We should just bring them in at the cost of some kid who earned it. For me, it sounded like the most American thing. The Italians are pretty mad about it because they don't want to be seen as
they're
Nepo
mad
babies in that way. Yeah, they want to earn their way to the World Cup. And the fact that Trump was all for it also speaks a lot about who Trump is as a person, or how at least Americans don't understand exactly how the World Cup and soccer work, that you have to earn your place at the tournament. You can't just get parachuted in because you won 4 in the past.
I think, I don't know, I think Trump does understand it. He just wishes it worked that way.
All right, Josh, it was a pleasure. That's all the time we had for the pre-cap. I'm Joe Opio. You can remember to please catch Josh Johnson as he hosts The Daily Show on Comedy Central, Paramount Plus, and of course in this form right here on The Daily Show Ears Edition. It was a pleasure having you, man.
Good to see you.
I know, this was fun.
Yeah.
Explore more shows from The Daily Show podcast universe by searching The Daily Show wherever you get your podcasts. Watch The Daily Show weeknights at 11, 10 Central on Comedy Central, and stream full episodes anytime on Paramount Plus.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.